Hey guys, Jeff with OptionBoxer.com. So it's Easter. I'm just getting back to my house since I know it's late. And so I wanted to get a video out there for you guys. And going through my scans tonight, I was able to find a trade on Salesforce, ticker symbol CRM. And so I thought it was an interesting one, and it's one that I'm going to try to place tomorrow when the market opens. Before we get into that, please know, as always, I'm not a registered financial advisor. This video is in no way a recommendation for you to buy or sell any security or place any trade. Just make sure you're doing your own research and that you understand the disclaimer at the beginning of this video. I think I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the sign that I have here. It is Easter, and that means He is risen for those of you that are people of faith. And so I think I'd be remiss if I didn't at least discuss it. I'm so thankful for all the things that I have and all the things that I am allowed to do by His grace. And really every year at this time, I think about Him, rising up out of that tomb or that grave. And I always remember the Bible verse that says, "A day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day." And so if He went to the grave for 3 days, as we all know, I mean, that could have been 3,000 years for Him at that time. It's just kind of always interesting. And it's always something I think about. And I always wonder, what was He doing for 3,000 years? It gets complicated really quickly, and it's certainly answers that I don't have. And someday, if I get to meet Jesus, I would love to ask Him, well, what did you mean by this? Or what does this mean here? And that'll just be one of thousands of questions that I have at that time. But anyways, I hope everybody had a fantastic Easter. I hope you enjoyed time with your family, some rest and relaxation from the markets or from your jobs. But anyways, I found a trade idea on Salesforce, and so we're going to go ahead and jump into the chart and take a look at it and see if we can't uncover what Salesforce might do in the next couple of days. So I've got Salesforce already pulled up on the screen. I've already zoomed into it, and you can see it's been an insane bullish run over the past, or really over the course of this entire year, 2023. Looks like it bottomed out there in December, and then of course traded all the way as high as 195 or 200, I guess. And so we have started to pull back a little bit. The first thing I notice when I look at this chart is this isn't a particularly bearish candle to me. It looks like sellers tried to come in and push the price lower, but buyers at some point throughout the day were able to push it higher. So I'm betting this may try to push higher tomorrow during the day. But I really think we're going to test this 187 area here. If you look at this from the volume profile perspective, it looks like the high volume node is right here about 185. And so I think the most realistic level of support there would be right around that 185. It also happens to be the top of this value range from the volume profile. So I suspect that we may test that level as well. When we may test it, I don't really know. I just don't like the look of this candle, but the setup is there. You can see the RSI is trading lower. The TTM squeeze is also pointing lower. And if I expand the TTM out a little bit, you can also see a little bit of a divergence happening. Let me get my trend line tool. You can see a little bit of a divergence happening. It's pointed downward, but price has been moving upward. So a little bit of a divergence there, nothing too notable, but it was worth mentioning. Additionally, the price is at the upper range of this 2 standard deviation channel. If you've seen my videos in the past, you know I used to have the 1, 2, and 3 standard deviation channel on the chart. But it was kind of cluttering up the chart, so I just kind of removed it. And it looks like price is wanting to trade back within this 2 standard deviation channel. And that kind of only furthers the idea that price may come back to this 187 area. That's really the target I'm looking for. It may continue falling even lower, maybe even as far back down as to the point of control here, somewhere in the 160, 170 range. But all I'm trying to do is capture just a little bit of this small move here over the next day or two and see if I can't get a profit. But let's go ahead and take a look at the trade that I've come up with for this. And I'll show you the setup here, the kind of the order entry setup that I've got. And so I won't be here sitting in front of the chart. So I've already entered it with a stop loss and a profit target. If you know anything about the way I trade, you know that I kind of really don't trust stop losses. I don't like them. Either price blows past it and you don't get filled, or it gets filled and then continues in your direction. And so I don't love stop losses, but I wanted to put this trade on, or I wanted to build it here. And if I do find myself tomorrow with the ability to monitor the trade throughout the day and possibly close it if it is at my profit target or at a stop loss level, then of course I will. But I'm going to set it up this way, at least initially, in case I get busy and I'm not able to look at it. But all this is a custom scan that I built. So if I go here and buy custom, It says long vertical, if I can highlight it. It says long vertical, $1 wide, but that really just in Thinkorswim terms is just one strike width, and you can see the strike width here is 250. We're risking $61. I'm going to try to get filled at about 61, but if we look at but just to kind of go through the rest of this order here, it's a first triggers OCO. Again, I used that in my buy custom order. I set that up, and then I just click that, and it comes in with the trailing stop. If you want to set an order like this up, you would simply hit this Save Custom Order Template, enter the name that you want. I've already got the name that I want in there, and then you could save it, and that way anytime you wanted to set up this particular order, you could just do it just that quick. But I've got a 25% profit target and a 20% loss target. You can see here I want the stop limit order to trigger when the mark is at a 19% loss. So essentially about $12 to $13 or so. When we've lost about 12 to 13, I want this to trigger, and then fill when it's about 13 to 15, give or take. And then a 25% profit target. Again, if I'm able to monitor the trade, I certainly will, and I'll close this without ever having to use these. I'll cancel these in the market and just have to go on that way. But really quick before we go, I've already kind of looked at the chart. Let's take a look at the Salesforce on the analysis tab. And you can see here, if we look back at the chart really quickly, I'm targeting about the 187 area if I can get it. If we do get to 187, you'll see it'll be well past the profit target that we've set in the initial order. If price starts moving immediately in my favor, I may leave it open to see if I can't squeeze out just a little bit more. That's not perfect practice, but if I can get a little more profit, I'm certainly going to take it. If price starts to turn against me, if I'm monitoring it, I'll of course close it at that time. If price moves immediately against me, I'll probably just leave the stop loss on, let it get triggered, let it get filled for $15 loss, and then move on to lick my wounds. But I think this may push up again a little bit tomorrow before ultimately coming back down. I really see the next level of support. The only thing I would say as far as Salesforce, if I draw a price level here, you can see price has traded up to and served as resistance at the exact level that it's at now. So that's not a great sign that price is wanting to continue lower here. It may be finding support. But that's really the only thing that I can see through the way I analyze a stock chart. That's really the only thing I can see keeping the price from moving lower. I really think that in the next few days, price will push down. Even if the bullish run continues, I think we're going to get a little bit of a pullback. You can see the trend line I drew here. If the trend line was true, and you count all these moves here, let's go ahead and activate this drawing just to include this last move here. And if that's true, then price will come down to around, of course we got to factor in that it'll be over here. Price will come down to around the 188 or so level before it continues up. So we'll delete that trend line. That's just something to show on there. But one thing I want to show you here on the Fibonacci is if I draw the Fibonacci there, let's make this a color we can see. Maybe green will work. You can see price traded up to it, and then it traded down as low as about the 38.2% level, which you can see here. If I activate this drawing, and then we go to the next high point, you can see a similar situation. Price traded down as low as about the 38.2% level, which is tough to see there. There it is. And then if I activate this drawing one more time, take it to the high here. If the pullback here is similar in nature to the last two pullbacks we've seen, we may see price trade down as low as about 170, and that kind of falls in line with that 165, 170 prediction that I was thinking maybe a minute ago. Again, all of that's kind of predicated on what the market is going to do this week. You can see here on the screen in after hours or late night trading here, the market is down just slightly. Kind of maybe a little bit of a bearish tone. We haven't opened in the London session and all that stuff that I don't pay that much attention to. So that'll give us more of an indication of what the sentiment may be going into tomorrow. But for right now, the tone is a little bit bearish, and the setup here on Salesforce is a little bit bearish. Again, right at the 2 standard deviation channel line, it did just pull back inside of it. I'm expecting at least a move down to about 187. That would yield us a really nice profit in a very short period of time if we can get it. Honestly, though, with price being a little bit at support, I think you may get some bulls come in here and try to push this up a little bit higher, especially if the market turns around and goes higher tomorrow. That's kind of my thought process at the moment. At the open, if I can do it, if I'm able to, I'm going to send this order tonight. But if I'm up before the market opens and I'm able to monitor this, I may see what price is doing initially in the pre-market hours to see if if it's gapping lower or if it's opening considerably lower, and then of course I'll adjust the numbers to make sense. But that's my trade idea for this week, guys. Again, make sure you're doing your own research prior to trading or investing. I just wanted to share that with you. It came up on my scan, and it looks like could be a nice way to make some really quick profit. But we'll see how it all goes. And in the next options trade idea of the week that I make, I'll revisit the Salesforce trade that I made here and let you all know how that worked out. But again, I hope you guys had a fantastic Easter. I hope you enjoyed spending time with your family. And again, just so thankful that Jesus is alive, and he lives in all of us if we accept him, if we ask him to. And I hope everything is going well for each of you out there. But that's really all for me, and I thank you guys for watching. God bless, and take care.